Tampa Bay meteorologist Colleen Campbell, and we are starting off with Tropical Storm Melissa. This is not a Florida system. This is a system that the Caribbean needs to pay close attention to, especially Jamaica. Now, the effects are already being felt in southern Hispaniola, especially along Dominican Republic and Haiti. So Jamaica and South Hispaniola will have the worst effects. There's a possibility that Jamaica could see a landfalling hurricane. So there's still a chance that it won't make landfall, but either way, they are going to have some effects of life-threatening flooding, as well as those winds, landslides, all possibility, basically all hazards on the table for these locations. Then after that, Cuba and the Bahamas are also on watch as we move into early next week for Cuba and then the Bahamas later on in the week. So let's get into Melissa. Here's the satellite imagery. This is the infrared imagery that you're looking at here. And if you've been following this storm with us the last couple of days, it's definitely looking healthier. Let me move this around for you so you can see the storm in its entirety. You can tell how the convection is starting to wrap more around the system, making it look more like a tropical system, right? We don't have an eye quite yet, but the center of circulation, if you look at the historical track there, that line that you see on your screen, notice that it really just has been snaking around. And there's part of the reason for that is this was basically a tilted system within the last 24 or 48 hours, meaning that we've had wind shear working on this west side, and that's why the system has been, well, lopsided in a way. So again, the winds have been coming in from this way. I'll show you the wind shear graphic in just a second. Still not a ton of convection on this side because we still do have that wind shear, although it is lighter. Jamaica's right here, and again, Hispaniola is to the south here. So of course, southern Hispaniola, especially the southwestern tip of it, seeing those outer bands of the stormy weather right now, whereas the center is trying to form right around here. Again, the center is looking a little bit further east than what it originally was, just because hurricane hunters have been investigating this system, flying over it, dropping data, and trying to see where exactly the center is trying to form while it works through that wind shear situation. Speaking of the wind shear, again, the wind shear is starting to lighten up just enough for the system to strengthen. This is a loop over the last 6 hours. You can still see how generally the winds are coming in from the west, but we had more of a northwesterly direction before, where it was really dipping down and having an effect on the system, knocking out the west side and blowing that stormy weather off to the east. Now it's starting to look more like a tropical system. It also has very warm water to thrive in. These are temperatures that are close, near record for the Caribbean. I think it's in the third spot right now for record temperatures. You're talking 86, that's bath water. This is something that these tropical systems thrive in when they have that warm body of water to work through. So the only thing that's been working against Melissa this entire time have been that those winds coming in aloft. Now, checking on the stats here, let's go back to the satellite here so we can look at the stats at the top of your screen. I'll point them out to you. So notice that the winds did increase. Yesterday we had winds down to 45 miles per hour. The winds are now at 60 miles per hour. That means once we get these winds to 75 miles per hour, that will officially be a hurricane, and we're looking at that strengthening to happen soon. Once the system becomes pretty healthy, which it looks like it's on its way, you can see all of these bright colors, that red, that's showing some deep convection there. That means this system is starting to blow up, and it will rapidly intensify as we move into this weekend. So again, winds are starting to increase. Also notice that the pressure is starting to drop. The pressure is down to 997 millibars. Before it was around 1,005, I believe, last I checked yesterday, or last we did the show together, you, myself, and all of you watching at home. Of course, we had shows in between there. And then as far as the speed goes, this is something that has not increased, and this is a problem. Its movement is east-southeast at 2 miles per hour. This system is still nearly stationary at this time. The problem with that, well, when it doesn't move and it's on top of one area and it's just crawling along at 2 miles per hour, guess what? All this rain continues to dump on these locations here, Dominican Republic and Haiti, getting hit with that heavy rain. And that's why moving into this weekend, they will have that threat of landslides. They're already seeing flooding in that area. And there's reports coming in of some deaths already. So I believe we have some video from Dominican Republic that has been taken recently. So there it is. Again, the system is still south of Dominican Republic, to the southwest actually, by a couple hundred miles. But you can see the effects of the flooding already taking place there. Now, of course, as the system does drift over to the west more, these effects will move away from Dominican Republic and Haiti. But you can see that flooding. This is video taken where, this is Dominican Republic, where that flooding is already taking place. Roads are starting to be blown out there from the conditions. Again, all hazards on the table, especially as you get closer to Jamaica. And of course, the winds will be picking up speed here too. All right, let's bring it back here because I want to bring you to the cone. Well, first, let's go over the watches and warnings that we have. And we're waiting for the other advisory to drop at 5 p.m. But we still have a tropical storm warning that's in effect for Jamaica, as well as a hurricane watch. These will turn into hurricane warnings when the system gets a little bit closer. And the southern end of Hispaniola, mainly Haiti, currently under that tropical storm warning and hurricane watch as well. All right, so getting into the cone now. So since this center, or what is believed to be the center, thanks to hurricane hunters inspecting this storm, is slightly more out to the east than originally thought. Again, this is the historical line that you see on your screen right now, how it kind of snakes around. And that's mainly due to that wind shear that has been pushing the storm out to the east while it's trying to structure itself. So let's play this out a little bit in time, and I want to take a zoom in here. So as we move into this weekend, this will likely be next 24 hours easily a hurricane. So at that point, it will be south of Jamaica. Moving forward into this weekend, around Sunday, Monday, it will likely strengthen to a major hurricane at this time. Now, remember, the cone that you see on your screen is basically an idea of where the center could be. You don't want to just look at the cone completely because the effects will be felt outside of the cone. This is just to give you a general idea where the center could be, where landfall is a possibility, which Jamaica is all fair game right now. Jamaica needs to prepare and protect life and property right now. And it's actually been pretty dry in Jamaica recently because, again, we've had that shear from the west, so we haven't had stormy weather closer to Jamaica. It's all been in Dominican Republic and Haiti. As we go forward a little bit more here, now you can see it turning into a Category 4 hurricane. And here's the alarming part. The models are suggesting more and more, and again, there can be some wobbles and wiggles, absolutely, but the models are suggesting that this will make a landfall in Jamaica potentially as a Category 4 hurricane. That is going to be catastrophic, to an area, such a small area, number one. This is a small island that will be facing a hurricane, a large hurricane at that. And with landfall, that is probably the worst scenario that you can think of, especially as a Category 4 storm. Now, where exactly it will make landfall in Jamaica? Now, there's still a possibility that it could trek out to the west. But of course, they would still have that storm surge and those winds. Remember, the strongest winds are around the eye of the hurricane. They will still have the effects of that and tons of rain for Jamaica, whether this makes landfall or not. It's in a close enough approach to that tiny island that, they will feel the effects. All right, moving forward a little bit more now. Again, this model by the National Hurricane Center has it making landfall on that western edge of Jamaica. That can absolutely change. But as far as where it's going to make landfall in Jamaica, and then moving forward into early next week, this is why I was saying that Cuba needs to be on the lookout because it could potentially make a second landfall in southern Cuba, close to Guantanamo Bay, by Tuesday, Wednesday. So those are areas that need to be on the lookout right now. And then eventually this will make a run for the southern Bahamas, mainly Turks and Caicos. So anybody with interest in the Bahamas, Cuba, Jamaica, Turks and Caicos included in the Bahamas, of course, you guys need to, Dominican Republic, right now, you guys need to really pay attention to this system because it is not looking good for our friends in Jamaica there. All right, we're going to go to a break, and then when we come back, we're going to look at the spaghetti models, some of the changes that we've seen in the models, and then we will talk about some local weather here to wrap up the show.
Before hurricane season hits, it's time to prep your home. Familiarize yourself with where your water shutoff valve is located. If backflow prevention devices are installed, get them tested annually.
Those are some great tips, and Cool Today is here to help you weather the storm. For over 60 years, we've been here to help Floridians with their cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. We can help you prepare, protect, and repair your home. Call 888-40-TODAY.
I was driving when a Ford pickup truck barreled into me from behind, sending me to the hospital.
I knew my husband was going to need an excellent attorney, so I called Dan Newland.
I'm so glad my wife called Dan. Dan really fought for me. He won my case and got me $650,000.
If you've been involved in a car accident, allow me to fight for you. Call me now at 813-888-8000.
Thanks, Dan, for winning my husband's case.
This autumn, give your home the upgrade it deserves. Save up to 20% during California Closet's Autumn Upgrade event, making it easier than ever to transform your space with our select finishes. Whether it's a walk-in closet, home office, pantry, or garage, our designs are about more than organization. They're about creating space for what belongs. We call it practical magic, expert design that feels effortless. Visit one of our 3 Tampa Bay showrooms or schedule your complimentary consultation today at CaliforniaClosetsTampaBay.com.
Windows are created and installed with different levels of quality. Unique quality that can withstand the tropical climate. Our installers only install PGT custom windows and doors, so we are the go-to experts. Don't take my word for it. We have been named Best of Tampa Bay 3 years in a row, Reader's Choice in Sarasota 3 years in a row, and nationally recognized as Window and Door Dealer of the Year. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Give WeatherTight Windows a call today, and don't forget the cookies.
All right, welcome back. It's Weather Impact Live, and we are talking about Tropical Storm Melissa, which will be a hurricane within the next 24 hours. This is a system that's affecting and impacting, I should say, the Caribbean. This is not a Florida storm. There's always somebody that wants to bring that up. This is a show where we go into the details of systems, whether they're close to home or not. All right, so we have satellite imagery taken from today showing how Melissa has been thriving and getting healthier. Look at all of that lightning and starting to see that circulation take place. Again, we were talking about where the center of the circulation believed to be further out to the east than originally thought. Of course, hurricane hunters really help with that because they fly into or around the storm. Some of them fly into the storm and inspect it, drop data, and that's how we start to get a better idea of the strength and the direction of the system. Now, the Associated Press, we were talking about possible deaths related to Melissa already, especially for Hispaniola, the southern end of it, as Melissa is to the south of that. They're already experiencing the landslides, the flooding, the heavy rain because Melissa is near stationary at this time. The Associated Press is reporting that 3 people have been killed so far in Haiti. So, this is a system that, again, we can't emphasize this enough. If there's any interest in Jamaica, all of those in Jamaica, they need to prepare and protect life and property now. Now's the time to act. Even though Jamaica has been drier lately, that's because the system, the way that the system's structured, it's just not in close enough approach, but you don't want to wait until it's too late. All right, so getting into the spaghetti models now, let's check this out. So again, there have been some differences in the models. You know, the GFS and European from the get-go have been in disagreement when Melissa will be taken out to sea. The models are in a better agreement for the initial run here, where it makes that approach to Jamaica, kind of south of Jamaica, I should say. So that's good. We know that it will be south. But again, when it comes to landfall, where exactly is this going to make landfall, or if it will make landfall at all in Jamaica? That's still up for question. And that, again, until we really get a well-defined center on the system, which it's almost there, it's getting there structurally, That is to be determined. Now, you can see that some of the models, some of the outliers, although they're not huge outliers, do have this a little bit further out to the west where it could miss landfall. But either way, because the country is so small in size compared to the system, everybody will, again, all hazards are on the table for this. Then we're looking at, again, a second landfall possible for southern Cuba. And then from there, it starts to approach Turks and Caicos, the Bahamas. Again, the models are a little bit more spread out. The further out you go, that's pretty normal. And then eventually it will move out into the Atlantic. How have the models changed over time? Well, a lot of this has to do with where is believed to be the center of circulation, that white line showing the actual path, the recorded path of where Melissa has been believed to been so far. The black lines are the different runs through the National Hurricane Center of the spaghetti models, and the red line is the current forecast, what is believed. But now, again, it could shift a little bit more to the west. That's just what the current forecast has. The important part here is the wind and the rain, especially, that will affect, and that leads to landslides, of course, especially in those mountainous areas, affect southern Hispaniola. So here you're looking at the wind radii. The yellow circle would be 40-mile-per-hour winds, which would be tropical storm force winds. The orange circle would be winds 58 miles per hour or greater. And you can see by Sunday, they will really start to feel the effects in the southwestern portion of Haiti. And then Jamaica will finally start to get those winds come Sunday, early Sunday, for the eastern side of the country. And then as we move into, look at that, the winds just engulf the country. And again, depending on landfall, of course, we'll have the strongest winds closer to the center of the eye, but this is, not looking good just hazard-wise for Jamaica at all. All right, talking about rain now, I do want to go to that because they are experiencing a lot of rain already. We just saw that video where flooding is currently occurring in Dominican Republic, Haiti. There have already been 3 deaths at least confirmed by the AP in Haiti, and you can see most of the rainfall, heaviest rainfall, 15 inches or more, 15, 20 inches easily for Jamaica, especially for that eastern side, and that's if that does take more of a westerly track. Now, again, on the westerly side, this all depends where this will make landfall. They will have likely less rain, but still 6 inches of rain is, not a small amount by any means. And I do want to show you how the GFS and the European models are doing. Again, they are in a better agreement today than what they have been all along, basically agreeing that it will make that southern approach to Jamaica. The GFS does still have this being taken out to the Bahamas a little bit earlier than the European does. You see the European kind of lags behind. Closer to Halloween is when the European believes that it will be making an approach for the Bahamas. Now, one of the reasons for that is because we have a front working through our area. As we get into Halloween, it was actually bring us some of the coolest air of the season. There's an area of high pressure out in the Atlantic right now. So there's that front that wants to sweep through. This is October 28th. There's Melissa down there. Look how the drier air takes over our area. That's a front sweeping in, and it will basically do its job to push that out into the Atlantic. But again, those areas still being impacted. This is not a Florida storm. All right, we're going to go to a brief commercial, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about local weather here. It's quiet, and then we'll say bye-bye.
I was involved in a very bad car accident. Called attorney Dan Newland, and it was like 1, 2, 3. Dan really got it done for me. At the end of my case, he got me $525,000.
As one of the largest personal injury law firms in the United States, my team and I remain committed more than ever to win big on your case. Involved in a car accident? Let's get started. Call me at 813-888-8000.
Thank you, Dan, for winning my case.
This autumn, give your home the upgrade it deserves. Save up to 20% during California Closet's Autumn Upgrade event, making it easier than ever to transform your space with our select finishes. Whether it's a walk-in closet, home office, pantry, or garage, our designs are about more than organization. They're about creating space for what belongs. We call it practical magic, expert design that feels effortless. Visit one of our 3 Tampa Bay showrooms or schedule your complimentary consultation today at CaliforniaClosetsTampaBay.com.
Windows are created and installed with different levels of quality. Unique quality that can withstand the tropical climate. Our installers only install PGT custom windows and doors, so we are the go-to experts. Don't take my word for it. We have been named Best of Tampa Bay 3 years in a row, Reader's Choice in Sarasota 3 years in a row, and nationally recognized as Window and Door Dealer of the Year. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Give WeatherTight Windows a call today, and don't forget the cookies.
With a fresh new look and over 60 years of keeping Floridians comfortable, Cool Today is the name to trust for fast same-day service. Cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Our friendly expert technicians take the hassle out of home repair today. And Cool Today is here for you tomorrow, too. That's why we're introducing a parts and labor warranty on select AC systems for a lifetime. For cooling, plumbing, or electrical service, get the best from today and for years to come. Cool Today.
All right, welcome back. So local weather here. This is a very busy surface map, so apologies for that. But you can see that rain that's moving across the northern part of Texas, past the Panhandle, closer to Dallas, or approaching Dallas, I should say, more so like Sherman, Texas. That will be on the way to us, but by the time it gets here, most of it will stall out. Now, we will have some rain come Sunday and Monday, and that's after a stretch of drier days that we've had here. The weather's been very pleasant, right? But we do have a weather impact alert for Monday, just because we don't want you caught off guard when rain does arrive, especially because it has been so dry. Also, something to mention, we have our winds that are picking up in speed here. They're coming in from the northeast today between 15 to 20 knots, and we have seas 2 to 3 feet. Now, the water is a little bit choppy out there, so boaters, I know it's beautiful weather, and I'm sure you want to get out on the boat, but just be aware that there is a small craft advisory that's in effect for today, tomorrow, and through Sunday evening. So basically, the entire weekend, we have a small craft advisory just because the winds will remain pretty breezy here. All right, so getting into future casts, again, that front that we've had draped over our area passes through. We have comfy, breezy conditions, and then here comes that low that's skirting over from Texas, where it's currently placed. It will move into the Panhandle. We're looking at that by Sunday night. Some storms not out of the question. I just think it will be more isolated. This low is actually going to swing across the northern part of the state. And notice on the East Coast here, close to Daytona and south of that, they will have some stormy weather out that way too. That's just from some moisture being driven in with those easterly winds. And then moving into later on in the week as we get closer to Halloween. So again, here we are Monday. We have that weather impact alert for those scattered showers and a few storms possible, low swings overhead. And then moving into late next week, we have some of the coolest air of the season that will make its way here. Check this out. The high temperatures are going to be about 10 degrees below average by the time we get into the day before Halloween. Us Northerners call it Mischief Night, and Halloween itself. These are daytime highs. So these are usually temperatures 75. That's usually what our temperature is in the morning, right? So, and lately our mornings have been pretty comfortable too. Speaking of